Recently, we hear many news reports about the drop in oil prices. This is mainly due to the negative outlook for the global economy since the COVID-19 outbreak. But even before the pandemic, oil prices were falling. Theoretically, the price of any goods or commodities is determined by supply and demand, but the price of oil depends on much more than that. Geopolitical factors and diplomatic issues play their parts. For example, Saudi Arabia and Russia are believed to be behind the recent price drops. Thanks to shale oil, the U.S. has become more of an exporter than an importer of oil. To maintain a hegemony and keep the U.S. in check, the top two oil exporters are thought to have increased oil production. Cheaper oil on the surface sounds like good news for the Korean economy that depends heavily on oil imports. But actually, it's a double-edged sword. As the fall of the price of oil is a sign of gloomy economic outlook, this will negatively impact Korean companies. Also, even though oil prices fall sharply, Korean drivers hardly feel the benefits. In Korea, taxes take up a huge portion of gasoline and diesel prices. So the drop in prices in the international market doesn't lead to an equal price cut at the pump. As of now, it's hard to predict what the global economy will look like even after the COVID-19 situation calms down. For Koreans who don't have the power to create a new global order, the best way to deal with the changes is to be adaptable. The amount of oil produced and consumed is not the sole factor for the price. It's much bigger than we think due to international relations between global powers. So I said the amount of oil produced and consumed is not the sole factor. If something is the sole factor, S-O-L-E, it means it's the only factor or just one factor. And I said it's much bigger than we think. So when we say it's much bigger than we think, or it's much bigger than we are, or there's something much bigger here, means that if we're just looking at supply and demand, it's quite simple. But if there's more factors, it's even bigger. If it's a trade war, or if it's a conspiracy, or if there's kind of government influence, that means it's something bigger than we think. So that means there's a lot more factors at play. The price of oil is complicated. It's not just simple economic principles. Oil prices are influenced by governments vying for money and power. So if you're looking for the word vying, to vie is just VIE, but vying we use a lot. It means competing. So if you and someone in your office, you are vying for the promotion, if the company is going to only promote one of you, you will vie for control or be vying for the promotion. It means you're competing against someone else or other people. Oil shale production has allowed the U.S. to export more than it imports. Russia and Saudi Arabia have counterattacked by increasing production as well as to keep the oil prices low. So we talked about shale oil and oil shale. It's basically the same thing. So oil shale is kind of a mixture of dirt, rocks, and oil that we extract from the earth. The physical material is called shale oil or oil shale. And I said Saudi Arabia and Russia have counterattacked. So when you counterattack, it means when you see an attack coming and then you attack. So for example, if you're boxing, if one person starts to jab, you can also jab as well. It's a very common boxing technique. Or because in this case, the U.S. started to attack Russia's and Saudi Arabia's economies by making more oil. So what they did is they made more oil as well to drop the price so the U.S. doesn't get as much money. To avoid the U.S. dominating the oil markets with fracking, Saudi Arabia and Russia have ramped up oil productions to keep the supply high. So I said they're dominating with the markets with fracking. Now, fracking is the entire industry of shale oil or oil shale. We talk about fracking. That is the process of extracting the oil shale from the ground. We talk about the fracking industry. That's everything related to it. If this area, fracking is very popular. It's kind of the whole process from start to finish of taking oil out of the ground. And then I said Saudi Arabia and Russia have ramped up oil productions. So to ramp up is to increase, but you can also ramp down. So if they ramp down to oil production, that means they've decreased it. But to ramp up means to increase it. The drop in oil prices is a mirage for the Korean economy. It may look good, but it's usually the first indicator for a recession. So I said the oil prices is a mirage. So a mirage is when you're in a very hot place like a desert and you look in the distance and what you see is water, but it's actually just the heat rising off the ground and it creates kind of an optical illusion. So it looks like water, but it's actually heat. So what we're saying is that, you see the drop in oil prices, it might look good, but in reality, it's not a very good sign. And then I said it's the first indicator for a recession. So that means usually when oil prices drop, it means the start of a very slow time in the economy, which is a recession. Don't get your hopes up when you see falling gas prices. Falling prices mean the economic future is not looking bright. So I said, don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up is an expression we use when someone or a group of people, they think something is going to happen. They think like if you buy a lottery ticket and you think you're going to win, someone might say, don't get your hopes up because the future is not likely you're going to win the lottery. Or, I hope I get a promotion this year. Hey, don't get your hopes up. Means don't wish and want because you'll be disappointed later. And then I said, the economic future is not looking bright. So when we talk about the future, it's looking bright or it's not looking bright. Or you could say the future is looking gloomy or it's looking dark. But if it's not looking bright, that means things are not good. However, the opposite, if things are looking bright, that means good things are going to happen. There is little change from falling petrol prices due to the high gas tax in Korea. Prices at the pump haven't changed much for Korean drivers. So I said there is little change from falling petrol prices. I'm an American. We usually say gas or oil, but you should know the word petrol. Petrol is used in UK English, so in Australia, UK, Ireland, etc. They will use petrol. Also in other languages where English is a second language, they might also use the word petrol or petrol station, which is short for petroleum. So we don't use it a lot, but if you travel to the non-North American or English countries, they will use the word petrol. And I said, prices at the pump haven't changed much. So, we asked kind of the question, what are the prices at the pump? That means at the gas station. So you could say like, oh, prices at the pump are going up, or dropping oil prices will affect prices at the pump. So that is the price you pay at the gas station per liter. Even if oil prices fall, there is little effect on the price of a gallon of gas. Korean drivers still need to dig deep in their wallets. So I said the effect on a gallon of gas. Now, a gallon is 3.7 liters, but in the US and also in the UK, they go by the gallon. So you might hear it a lot in our language, like how much is a gallon of gas? So a gallon of gas in California is like $4. But if you go to the countryside, it could be $3 or even $2.50. So when we talk about gas prices, you would say a liter of gas or a gallon of gas. But in American English, we always say, how much is a gallon of gas? So that'll increase the price of a gallon of gas. And then finally, I said they need to dig deep in their wallets. So to dig deep into your wallets means things are more expensive. So if you're digging into your wallet, that means you're spending money. But if you're digging deep, you're reaching to the bottom. So if prices go up, you've got to dig deep into your wallets. All right, thanks, guys, for downloading. And you can reach out to me at feurey@gmail.com. Thanks for downloading. Bye-bye.